like to know guno omunnyo gwe tulya guleetawo obuzibu ki obwongera pressure yaffe.
So normally within our bodies this salt is needed for a number of functions, and one of them is that this salt is going to help with the way our nervous system is functioning.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, once this salt gets out of levels that the body can handle, this salt is going to cause hyperstimulation of the nervous system.
Oh, yeah.
And in the long run, it is going to predispose us to a number of complications, in which hypertension is included. Then the other way we can link salt to this hypertension is that we know that one of the ways the body is supposed to function normally is if we have blood flowing through our system or our bodies.
Yeah.
Now, once we are having this too much salt within our bodies, it is one of those that help in the conduction through which the heart is able to pump blood to the rest of the body. Yeah. Now, if we are having too much of it within the body, it is going to cause hypernatremia. And this hypernatremia is one of the ways in which our blood pressure is going to raise, because there is overstimulation of the heart muscles.
Yeah.
And then it is going to predispose us to hypertension. Because the heart is going to overwork because of the effects of this too much salt. Oh, yes, too much salt.
Fred, do you think people are really understanding? Because the doctor is talking about strong points here.
Maybe to simplify the term doctor has used.
Oh, yeah.
The salt we take is made up of 4 components, 4 elements, and that is sodium and chlorine.
Yeah.
So the sodium ions, whenever they go in your bloodstream, that's what is termed as hypernatremia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the moment you overtake the salt, sodium ions are going to increase and result into what you have said, hypernatremia, and then the body is going to become overstimulated, then you're going to have a surge of activities.
Wow, we really have people who understand these things.
I think we should now put the work in Uganda, because I feel like people should understand this. Yeah, people should understand.
I see my neighbor here also, Madam Duffin Asap. She's well loaded.
Yeah, I have so many questions.
Tell us maybe something, some of the causes.
By the way, did we talk about the normal blood pressure?
Anyway.
Did we talk about what you should expect whenever you take your BP? Because people must know that before we go into the abnormal blood pressure.
So briefly you can tell our viewers the parameters, maybe the benchmarks where you can maybe decide to declare someone that is hypo or normal or hyper
or pre-hypertensive.
So whenever they are taking this BP, maybe you have a monitor at home, maybe you've gone to the health facility to take your BP, you're going to always find the systolic blood pressure and the diastolic blood pressure. You know, whenever the heart is pumping, there is this pressure it's going to use to pump blood. Okay? So that's the systolic blood pressure. And there is this one that is going to have when it is relaxing, when the heart is relaxing. Kati abantu bakiyita pressure y'owansi ne pressure y'owaggulu. Kati someone might visit the health facility n'avaayo ng'agamba bampimye nga pressure yange ey'owaggulu erinnye nnyo, meaning that the systolic blood pressure, meaning that the strength the heart is using to pump blood is really so high, which means that is the cause of the term hypertension. That is why someone can be termed that you're hypertensive, because your systolic blood pressure is abnormally high, and that is above 140. But the normal BP is 120. The normal systolic BP. Yeah. So whenever it goes beyond 140, because we have pre-hypertension and we have hypertension. So someone might have 125. It is deviating from the normal, but it's not too high. And you might find someone having 130. It is still deviating, but not too high. But whenever your systolic blood pressure exceeds 140, which means you're hypertensive, you need care. You need to change certain things in your lifestyle. And now the diastolic blood pressure, or the pressure that that is recorded of the heart when it is relaxing, that is supposed to be 90 or 80.
It is supposed to be below 90.
65.
Below 90, yeah. For as long as it is below 90. Now, blood pressure, high blood pressure or hypertension can be seen in two ways. You can find that your systolic blood pressure is elevated or it is abnormally high, or your diastolic blood pressure is abnormally high. So I think that people should first understand that at least when I go to the health facility and they maybe on my vitals they've recorded that I have 200. You know that people get systolic blood pressure of 200.
To top up on what you said. You said we have someone being at a normal blood pressure, someone having hypertension, pre-hypertensive, and then someone being hypertensive.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to blood pressure, your systolic blood pressure being above, let's say, 180 plus.
Yeah.
Now, someone is getting it to 200. Now, that one is considered, it is termed hypertensive emergency. It is now beyond someone being hypertensive alone. Still you're hypertensive, but the reason that's why they term it as hypertensive emergency, you need urgent care with intravenous fluids actually, not even oral drugs, because they will take long to be absorbed into the bloodstream and then work. So you need something that is going to work immediately, otherwise you may even lose your life.
But by the time that people reach the reason that's why we say that it's a silent killer, it's because you might be having hypertension and you don't know your pressure is 130, 140, you don't realize the moment it shoots 200, someone just gets stroke.
It is already late.
Yes, they bring the person to the facility and it is already abnormally high. I think that is the emergency hypertension you're talking about.
And that's why they use intravenous drugs to treat it.
To make sure that the effect is so
fast. Yes.
And then there is something I wanted to talk about, that there are two kinds of, or the two types of hypertension. Because you might find, and because we have two types, the primary hypertension and the secondary hypertension. Primary hypertension is that where the cause is, I don't want to call it unknown. The cause is idiopathic. So the cause is not so clear. But then, when it comes to that, because a bigger number of hypertensive patients are in that category of primary hypertension, where the root cause of their hypertension is not known. But medical personnel have related that, or the inaccuracy of the cause to maybe genetical factors. Because we might find someone, because we see some of the causes, stress or lifestyle in general, but then someone is observing all that but still they are hypertensive. So we have no sanga ngolinga bagamba oyo ekika kyawe kirimu aba pressure, balwadde ba pressure, which means you're at risk because of the genes you have, because of your family. Just because that gene moves along your family, you might find yourself being hypertensive, not because of your lifestyle. The same thing we see in these people who are obese. You find someone fighting weight, but the weight is not going. People are not eating, someone is hitting the gym every morning, but weight is not going. Meaning that there must be a factor that they cannot modify, that you have no option. You just have to know that maybe just helping yourself to prevent those bigger symptoms that might come up, because you don't entirely live it. So even in hypertension, we have primary hypertension. And more than, or it can be 90% of the hypertensive patients are all having primary hypertension, where the cause is genetical. And we have secondary hypertension, where lifestyle comes in, and maybe this, because we even have these, what we call comorbidities, diseases that you might have that are going to predispose you to hypertension. Now, like, it is so common that in hospitals you find these two things move together. Someone is diabetic and at the same time hypertensive. Meaning that one of them is predisposing you to the other. So someone who is diabetic, most of these diabetes mellitus is going to expose you to hypertension. So those two things, when we are talking about factors, we should know that there are those that are genetical, that we cannot change, and those that are, those that come up due to your lifestyle, all that stuff. Yeah, so that's what
well, reviewers, let me hope you're enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
We have had the causes, we had our specialists telling us that what you're eating might be giving you hypertension. Yeah. We have seen Sarah Duffy telling us that there are also different types of hypertension. She has explained to us primary hypertension, secondary hypertension.
Yeah.
She has also tried to make it simpler to know, or some of the parameters to know how whether you have hypertension, whether you have hypotension, whether you're normal. She has told you those figures. She said when you're having something called systolic pressure, when it's 40 and above, 140 and above, you are hypertensive.
Yeah.
So we are still discussing the causes, and I cannot forget Musao Arafat. This guy is loaded. He's going to vomit for us content. My brother, can you prolong this conversation a bit about the causes of hypertension?
Pressure. Let me first of all talk about the myths that we have in hypertension.
Yes.
Coming back to what she said, she talked about obesity. You see, there is this assumption that we always have that whenever someone is fat, we assume, when you see someone with a big belly, we assume that person is obese because they are having too much of the fat being deposited in their abdominal region.
Yeah.
But basically, sometimes you may think that this person is that much fat but is not obese. It is actually very possible. And you may think that this person doesn't have hypertension. But you see, is fat. Your assumption, what comes to your mind immediately, this person must be what? Obese. But you see, obesity is like a medical parameter that we use to determine or measure someone's fatness based on their body size and height. Actually, let me say body weight and height. So you may think that someone, the height is, the person is tall enough, and then the person is also a giant. He is big and tall enough. So you find the balance between the two. That's in a way that when you take measurements of his height and then you carry out the body mass index calculations, then the person is within the normal range.
Which means we shouldn't be calling these people, you find someone fat and then you term him
yes,
obese.
It doesn't necessarily mean that that person is obese. It doesn't necessarily mean, because if a person to be called obese, this person has to be having a body mass index over 30 plus. That is when we term someone big. Yeah, okay. Body mass index is like I've told you, it is a parameter we use to determine whether someone is overweight, underweight, or obese.
Yeah.
So basically, for someone to be in a normal body mass index, this person has to be between 18.5 to 24.5 around. The moment you're below 18.5, we term you malnourished, like you're underweight.
So how do we calculate that? Because we need to know.
The calculation is very easy. Even you can do it at home as long as you have the measuring equipment. What you need is a weighing scale to get the weight in kilograms, and then you also need a tape measure to get your height, and then you square the meters of your height. So you take the weight in kilograms divided by the height in meters squared. So the moment you find that you're below 18.5, my friend, there is something that is missing in your body. Yes, maybe you're eating a lot of portion, but you're leaving out other ingredients. You're not getting maybe zinc. So your body is not building well.
Yeah.
But the moment you find yourself you're within 18.5 to 24.5, you're good to go. Keep up with your good health lifestyle. Then the moment you find that you're between 25.5 to 29.9, you're overweight, but you're not obese still. So you just need to reduce on some of the things that you're doing. You're going to be okay. The moment you are above 29.9, you're 30 plus, my dear friend, you need to completely change your entire lifestyle. You are getting to your entire lifestyle
to learn a lot of things now.
Yes.
We have learned something I didn't know. For us, we When you're fat, we think you're obese. But I've tried to clarify.
Please let us know.
There is someone being tall and fat.
And it doesn't mean that if you see someone fat, that they are eating anyhow. Sometimes it is because of the genes they have.
Yes.
You know, whenever you see someone with a belly like this, you start right out, oh my God, this one with fast foods. These people don't eat healthy foods. But actually, people fight with their weight.
There are some people that are fat, and when they put you together with him in a race, you fail to win that person.
Yes.
But when you look at him, you assume this person can't even run 2 meters.
Yeah.
But the person is okay. They have no problem.
So we are really learning a lot. But I would have to remind our viewers, as I said from the beginning, 1.4 billion people in 2024. The World Health Organization said they were hypertensive. And that means that 1 in 3 of the population of the world, they have hypertension. So let us take this matter is serious. It's something serious. It is a silent pandemic, and we're not channeling our focus towards it. So let us wake up before it eats us up. So we have talked about the causes, but I heard that there is also causes and risk factors. Our specialists,
before you move on to the specialists, you've said, according to statistics, you've said that
1.4 billion.
1 in 3.
That in simple terms means 1 in 3.
We are 4 years.
We are 4.
When did you last take your BP?
I think I checked 2 months back.
Oh my God.
During the days, you could be one of, you could be the one above the 3.
This is serious. Silent pandemic, we have to take this serious. Professor. Now, causes, we've talked about causes, but here is also the risk factors.
Yeah.
How do these differ? And maybe you tell us the risk factors also.
Okay. So let us begin with the risk factors, since we have already discussed the causes. So the risk factors, we can define a risk factor and say that a risk factor is a characteristic, is a behavior that increases your likelihood of developing this disease.
But it's necessarily a cause.
Not necessarily a cause. It increases your likelihood of developing this disease. And risk factors, we can put them into 2 broad categories. We can term them, the first category, we can term it the non-modifiable risk factors. Non-modifiable. What we mean in this case, these ones, we can say in layman what most of the society now perceives as it is what it is. We cannot change them. Yes, we cannot change them. If it is, for instance, I'll give you some examples that actually lie in this broad classification. And one of them is we have increasing age. Now, with age, if you're 50, and this is so common with our dear sisters, they tend to keep camouflaging around with their age. Someone asks them, how old are you? And they're all like, I'm 40. Yes, they're actually sorry, man, I'm sorry.
At one point they get stuck at 25. They take like 8 years at 25 there.
Yes. So age, we cannot change age. If you're 40, you're 40. However much you may want to the public to perceive you in another age, that will always be your age. And with hypertension, the older you get, the more chances of what? Of getting this what? Hypertension.
Yes.
Then still, other example under this non-modifiable is that
before you go to another non-modifiable risk factor,
Yes.
because now I've started to worry, the older I get, the more predisposed I am to these conditions. What happens as someone is growing? Is it that the person becomes more stressed to get hypertension? What happens? Age and hypertension.
Okay. Yes, within age and specifically linking it to hypertension, a number of processes or mechanisms come along with age. Now, for example, one of them I can use to explain this concept of age and hypertension. You realize when you're very young, your body is very, very active.
Yes.
And actually, as we progress, we shall realize that actually even physical inactivity is one of the predisposing factors or the risk factors to hypertension. So with age, you realize that
your body tends to become weaker, the muscles become weaker, the bones grow weaker.
Continue.
What we call breakdown of yes.
Just to even implement on what you're saying, realize that as you grow, the functionality of your vital organs of the body. Yes. And remember, you need your kidney. Your kidney plays a very important role in regulating blood pressure.
Yeah.
Even your heart itself plays a great role
so
in that.
it's no good in becoming old.
But of course, we have to grow it is.
Yes.
It's why people become stuck at 25 years.
Yes. So essentially, yes, the older we get, the more physical inactivity that our body gets, and in the long run, this is going to cause a number of challenges to our body. The muscles are going to get weak. That means because these muscles are also helping the heart in pumping this blood to the rest of the body organs. So with age, realize that these muscles are going to grow weak, and the fact that they can no longer help the heart, that means the heart now has to struggle to pump this blood to the rest of the body. That's the beauty with getting older and linking it to hypertension. Of course, there are other processes or mechanisms we can use to explain this age in relation to hypertension. Yes, but one of them is physical inactivity, which makes, or in turn, is going to directly affect the muscles in relation to the way the heart is pumping blood to the rest of the body organs.
Wow, we are really enjoying the conversation.
He was still giving us the
yes, the risk factors. Yes, we are non-modifiable, and yes, we started with age. Yes, then now we go to the second non-modifiable risk factor. Now the second non-modifiable risk factor is what we call family history. Yes, or yes, in layman or in simple language, genetics. We realize that most of us, back in our families, when you trace from a few members of your lineage, you realize that probably there's someone who had this hypertension. So you realize that actually if this person had hypertension, there is a high likelihood that you inherited some of these genes that predispose them to hypertension. So you need to take extra caution, because the fact that you're in this family makes you be at risk, because when we examine you, shall find that actually you have these genes that are making you yes, that are making you
with hypertension. Yes, your grandfather.
Yes,
and who told you to come from that lineage?
But we can never run away. We all, it is not our choice to be born. We are all just finding ourselves.
It is non-modifiable.
Yes, non-modifiable. Yes, so that is family history, or what we can term as genetics. There is a certain gene that is within your family that is going to make you at risk. And like as we started earlier, we say that this hypertension comes as a number of very many factors. Yes, multifactorial disorder.
We need to take notes.
Yes, multifactorial disorders. A number of factors come into play to actually bring you to this hypertension. So we are going to see the element of family history or the genetics coming in, but then in the long run, how is your diet? Yes, you could be having the gene that predisposes you to having obesity. But then, have you tried to reduce on the fast foods that you're taking? Have you gone an extra mile to go
stop
for
taking alcohol?
Yes, stop taking alcohol. Have you gone an extra mile to actually go and exercise on a daily basis?
People to stop alcohol to reduce.
Okay. Here now, the thing is, we are going to reduce. In a hypertensive patient, we are going to reduce. But in case you have not started, please don't start. Don't start.
That is very good.
Yes. But someone who is already having this hypertension, we are going to reduce. We shall realize that actually for the males, we shall need 21 units per week of this consumption of this alcohol.
That percentage you're leaving behind it is using
yes, actually,
I am following now with all the people are trying to baptize alcohol so beneficial.
How it is
because alcohol is a drug. It is a drug, by the way, if you didn't know. It is not necessarily, it is not even a beverage. It's a drug. Wow, and by the way, it even has its mechanisms of action within your body.
Yes.
Excess consumption, that is what makes it bad.
On top of being a drug, it can also be used as an antiseptic. So it is highly needed within our environment and hospital settings.
Only that, dear our viewers, if you can avoid alcohol, please avoid alcohol. Avoid alcohol, please.
Yes, at all costs.
Yes, avoid.
No, people are reasons that's why they should take a little.
And that's why I'm coming in at this point, because I don't want us to give people reasons to take alcohol, even if a little. Because still, even if someone is hypertensive, that person can take drugs and still be okay without taking the alcohol. Please avoid alcohol.
Okay.
We continue.
Yes, then the other thing is that for the people that are already taking this alcohol and they are predisposed or they have hypertension already, because we've said for the males, they actually need 21 units, actually less than 21 units per week. Then for the females, it should be less than 14 units per week. Yes.
You haven't seen
You can quote that.
drink. 21, 14 for ladies.
For ladies, less than 14 units per week.
Maybe slightly help me understand what you're meaning by the units. Maybe you can read it in yes.
Yes, we
Let's conversion now.
Yeah.
Units to milliliters or letters, right?
Yes, we should understand that.
If I have a mineral wood, mineral water bottle, where am I supposed to stop? Is it just one what is this? A Kasani killer?
Or you take it is in the middle of the bottle.
Or 14 bottles.
Oh, it's one cup. This is exciting because I do believe that most of us really don't know those units, those meals.
Yeah. And how is someone going to hold a bottle of maybe 25 mils and you're telling them to just take a sip? Because that is what is needed in their body. Let us clarify this.
So
ladies less than 14 units, which are?
So now if we talk of a unit, we're actually meaning 8 grams.
Oh my God.
Yes, a single unit is equivalent to 8 grams. Yes. So we can do the computation and we see how much are we supposed to take.
Do you have it?
In a milliliters, I have the 21 units. It equates to 210 milliliters.
Woo!
A week. You give it someone. Yes.
Which means in a day. Oh my God. I thought.
Because if I do the computation,
you're allowing someone to take how much? 210 divided by 7. You're giving someone 30 ml.
Oh my God.
It's possible.
That's why I say because is addictive. Because for you to have the discipline of 30 every day.
We can find someone taking 40 bottles.
Yeah.
Yes, but as you also know that with alcohol, if someone is already taking, it's something that we can't actually just take away from them.
Symptoms.
They're going to develop withdrawal symptoms. So what we do, we are going to start titrating lower doses, slowly by slowly.
So that's why they say we reduce on our consumption of alcohol.
That is another exciting
away from
that is mainly about addiction.
Yes, addiction.
It is
They close you in the room just because we are drinking, maybe a jerry can. Now they close you in the room, they don't give you even 1 mineral bottle water. That is not fair. They need to at least reduce each and every day. They keep reducing.
As the body adapts to the new lifestyle, will take over. But just it is not good. Really.
Okay. So the other that we can look at under these non-modifiable risk factors is actually what we call the underlying conditions. If someone already has a condition that can actually predispose them to hypertension. Of course, usually, because we've seen these are what we term as the non-communicable diseases, meaning they cannot be spread from one person to another. They are within your own setting that actually you come to develop this what? I'll give you one of the underlying conditions that can actually predispose you to hypertension. Now, if someone is actually having conditions such as diabetes mellitus, this can increase their likelihood of what? Of developing hypertension. And that is actually if it is poorly managed. Yes, if we poorly manage this diabetes, or what we call DM, or sukari, it is going to predispose you to what? To hypertension. How? What actually this increased glucose does in the body is that it is going to go and damage the vasculature.
In the first place,
yes.
What is sukari?
So
that is also a condition. Before we even know how it is related to hypertension,
yes.
What is diabetes mellitus?
Okay. So diabetes mellitus is one of those chronic non-communicable diseases that actually we get as a result of our lifestyle as well. And this actually happens when you have excessive glucose levels within your bloodstream.
Oh.
Yes, excessive glucose levels within your bloodstream. It can be of 2 types and more as you progress.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the types is what we call the type 1 DM or type 1 diabetes mellitus, whereby someone is having what we call autoimmunity. Yes, autoimmunity. The cells that are responsible for producing hormones that are going to regulate this glucose in your blood, which we call the beta cells, they are going to be destroyed by the body's immunity. Yes, the body comes and fights you. Your own body is actually fighting you. So you won't be in position to produce this insulin. And actually those people...
Let us stop blaming people. You see someone maybe has diabetes and then you start blaming them. Maybe they take a lot of sugar. This flower is eating this and that. So now this one is obese. This flower is eating burgers. Sometimes there is a problem. There is something that it is not maybe for our own making, but it is, we can't change it. No, like that one. The body itself is
destroying.
Yes, it is destroying its own self.
The cells to be danger to eat.
Yes.
So the body itself is a threat to me. Oh my God.
So, wow.
Okay.
So that actually happens after these cells have been destroyed. Such people can actually, they are incapable of producing this insulin. And what we are going to do, we are going to give them the insulin directly, or what we call the insulin dependent.
Oh,
yes,
so
yes.
These are the people who always have
Injections, yes.
Wow.
Now the other type, what we call the type 2, is the body produces this insulin, but it cannot, but it is not being utilized by the receptors, or what we call insulin resistance. Yes, the body is making this insulin, but the receptors are not taking their role to utilize this insulin. And in this case, we are going to supplement what we call the oral antidiabetics to these people, such that the insulin is there, it is not working as much as we want it to, but these drugs are coming in to help break down this this glucose. These drugs are coming in to help
response to this. So, Mr. before we move on,
yes,
We've been talking about insulin.
Insulin. Today we need to take note.
What is insulin? What is this?
Vocabulary.
Simple terms, what do I need to know about? So, insulin
is a chemical messenger in the body. In medical school, they call it a hormone.
Yeah.
And these hormones are constantly being produced in the body to do various functions, through which various organs are going to communicate.
that you live happily and a very peaceful life. So this insulin is being produced in one of the organs of the body, which we call the pancreas. And this insulin is going to move to almost all body organs, because insulin receptors, or yes, the target points where this insulin is going to go and bind, such that this glucose is constantly being broken down every after a meal. When you go to exercise and glucose levels rise because you need energy, this insulin is going to come into play to bring down this glucose level. So this insulin is going to be produced in the body in response to an increase in glucose. After a heavy meal of carbohydrates, yes, you've taken your 2 bottles of soda, you've taken your tea with 3 spoonfuls of sugar.
So in simple terms,
yes,
insulin is like a regulator.
Yes,
it is helping us clear glucose from the bloodstream so that we store it.
Yes, and have the normal levels that the body can accommodate.
To regulate
the
glucose concentration.
Yes.
Wow, can it be cured? I think that one should be for another day.
Another day.
You wanted to link diabetes mellitus with hypertension, but I wanted to know. What
Before we move on
diabetes?
from diabetes mellitus,
Yes, please.
so does the consumption of sugar, like normal sugar, non-carbohydrate, but it is sukari, the one that we always put on our tea, just that sugar, does it really cause increase in blood glucose levels? Can it cause diabetes mellitus?
This normal sugar that we take, actually, it is what we call the refined sugars. Yes.
Yeah.
And with these refined sugars, they have short chains. They are the chains that are actually linking up the molecules in these sugars are actually short compared to the natural sugars that we are going to find in
Like
fruits.
sweet
We are going to
potato.
find in sweet potatoes. We are going to find in fruits, mango.
What sugar again? It's
Yes, sugar cane. So once you constantly take this sugar and you're having a faulty pancreas, in this case, because you've seen the two types of what? Of diabetes mellitus, you're going to be predisposed to what?
so sugar does not directly cause
Exactly.
diabetes
Yes,
mellitus. But it is when it finds you're already having some issues with
Yes,
your body.
some issues which you already said, sometimes
Yes.
autoimmunity, and the other is you're having what?
Yeah. Sukari
But
wake.
a disclaimer, please, if you're a diabetic patient and you want to consume sugar, please consult with your physician. There are some artificial sweeteners that you
Yeah.
can take and they have no issue.
Yeah, they have no
Like
issue.
aspartic acid, they are there. So please, don't take the normal sugar, please.
So do you mean that these natural sugars, now like the sugar cane, sweet potatoes, are more dangerous than the sugar, the refined sugar?
It is the refined
Actually-
sugar that is more dangerous.
Exactly, it is the refined sugar that is actually causing a lot of.
are
Which
natural,
means
they have
I'd
a
rather
long
take
chain.
a sugar cane
Yes.
instead of, that's why you find people putting honey on tea instead of this.
Real sugar.
Yeah. Okay.
So the conversation is so exciting, but I think we need to have another episode with Amsa. You see,
Yeah,
time
because
is leaving us.
specialists in those conditions.
Time is leaving us, and we see as if the conversation is just starting.
Yeah.
Maybe let me allow my colleagues Musao Dafin and Musao Arafat to also give some few comments about risk factors.
So risk factors, we have talked about both the modifiable and non-modifiable. There is this thing I've seen in European countries. Does race, is race this, that these are white, the other ones are blacks?
Yes,
that is
yes.
race.
That is race.
Is there a way race affects or is a predisposing factor to hypertension? That maybe these Africans,
Why
for them, are
suffer
more
from that?
predisposed to hypertension. Is there a way they are connected?
Yeah, sometimes it is. I can't scientifically explain it, but sometimes it is because you see there are some races that are known to always have hypertension at even a given age.
Yeah.
And even you see in USA, whenever they are giving treatment to these hypertensive people and people with heart failure, usually there is a parameter they consider. If you are an African American, there are some drugs that are better used on you than the other people. It is not a racial discrimination, no, but it is for your own benefit as a patient.
So when I was doing research for this episode, I got onto race as a risk factor, and then I started Googling race. How can it be a risk factor for hypertension? And then they were saying that it is somehow related to the social demographic factors. That we have whites, we have blacks. Blacks, let's say Africans, and the other ones in European countries. Blacks or African countries, we have more problems than they have.
Wow.
Yeah. We are so much exposed to stress,
Stress.
even the lifestyle. Have you realized that in African countries, people who get money, who earn money, that maybe is enough for them to get whatever they want to get, who call it the rich. Do you realize that in African countries, the rich are actually you've told us not everyone that is fat is obese. But let me say that the rich are the obese we have in African countries.
Interesting.
And in European countries, people who actually have money are very thin. So how can that happen? Because I expect them to, they have more money than us. They should be having those weights. How is it like that?
Now you see, there is a difference between understanding of lifestyle. You see, for us as Africans, like I once told you people, for me, I grew up in a family where eating chicken or meat always came on
it's a luxury, actually.
yeah, it is a luxury. It always comes on special days, Eid, Christmas, Easter, and even sometimes on Easter or Eid, you may skip the day. It just happens. It is normal. Like, you can't avoid the program of what? Of meat.
Yeah.
Now here comes a point where, by God's grace, I've made it in life.
Yeah.
And I can afford to eat chicken every day.
Pizza.
So
chicken is sweet, isn't it? Sweet. So, and I can afford to eat anything I want.
You revenge
And
all the past year.
the stress I used to have of waking up every day in the morning and you go to what? To the garden, dig. Remember that digging is a physical exercise.
Yeah.
It used to keep me thin and healthy. Now I don't have that stress. The stress I have right now is wake up, shower, get into my vehicle, move to work. When I'm going to work, I have to just sit and stay put from morning up to 7. Like, then I get up and go back home. When I reach home, it is sleep. So life is like...
And you people have realized that in European countries, the foods we have here, you see that if you want to eat from Cafe Java's, you will need at least 70k. You want to have lunch, you want to have snacks around, 70k cash, you have to have it. But then these local foods, you want yams, you want nakati, you want what? These organic foods are cheap. You just need like 5k, go buy matoke, 2k, nakati, you buy utula, balanced diet.
And with its
things are
benefits, it's not we trash.
Cheap, yes. But then if you go to European countries, these things of KFC, Javas are actually for the poor. And these rich people, because they find it so hard to get money, these that maybe don't have enough money, they find it so hard to get money maybe to go and buy a bunch of matoke because it is expensive, meaning that for them they'll have to eat chicken on the streets because it is cheap.
So I think now it gives something clear. It paints a clear picture.
Yeah.
Why the other people are really not suffering from that as compared to us here in Africa.
The food for the rich is so bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
It is junk food.
Junk food.
I do believe that we have spoken a lot of things.
Yeah.
And someone who is with us now, I believe that you've been eagerly waiting for, how can I combat these issues?
Yeah.
How can I control this? How can I cure this? How can I fight this? Yeah. We shall also get to know whether this disease can be cured or whether it cannot be cured. So now we want to know, how can we manage this condition called the hypertension?
Can I please first chip in a bit? Because there is something I prepared that after we are done with the risk factors, there are some questions that I have for all of us.
Hey.
Yeah, and I want us to answer them so genuinely. And we are going to start from the man on my extreme left. Can you please,
encyclopedia.
Can you please give us one thing or one health habit that might not be so healthy, but you find or you get hard time to give up on it? One habit that you do, it's not so healthy, but you find hard time to
that
give
is
up.
a very difficult question for me, but
Because you have
I will tell you. But basically, eating fresh is something very difficult to ignore. But it is not that it's not healthy. It is sometimes it is necessary because we need proteins in the body. But then excessive consumption, it is dangerous.
Yeah.
But of course, you can never put meat in front of me, chicken in front of me, and expect me to say I don't want.
You know, sometimes it's not okay, but
yes, I will not say I don't want. Even when I'm sick, I think I'll still eat the chicken.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Fred,
Yes.
That one thing, you people don't lie us. You have those things.
I thought you asking me another question.
No, that is the same question that you answered.
What is the question?
That one thing that it doesn't seem so healthy, but you find you do it and you get so much hard time to give up on it.
Sugar.
But are you hypertensive? They've just told us that for us who are not, it's okay.
Okay. But we've seen it is a predisposing factor to diabetes, it's hypertension.
Okay.
So it is not okay.
Sugar.
That is not okay.
Okay, I'm going to go next, and our guest will go last. For me, what I find so hard, do you know that every meal that I'm served, I always feel like adding on much more salt here and there. I want to feel the salt on my tongue. And I have people like me that we have in the audience, that if you don't add a little salt here and there, you're not going to take the food. So for me, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, excessive intake of salt, it's not good for my health. But I find so much hard time to give the salt. Yeah.
Actually, that is also my biggest problem, that I always have to supplement salt to even the tiniest of the meals I'm going to consume.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Is it that because for me that difficult, I find that I always want to feel it on my tongue. If you put salt in the food and I don't feel it, I'll automatically add in because I want to feel it. But remember, they've told us what it brings, that salt is sodium chloride. The moment you take it, and you know that sodium is reabsorbed in the kidneys. The moment the sodium is not reabsorbed, then it's going to what? How can I call it?
Osmosis.
It's going to reduce the blood volume. You understand? Yeah. So it is not good. So another question. When was the last time you had a vigorous exercise?
Vigorous exercise.
Vigorous, a bed, not walking.
I think that was in 2022.
No.
I was still in school. We were playing inter-houses competitions. And now let me tell you, I've explained to you. The program I have for every day is too tight.
You made it in life. You see what the rich people do?
I have not reached there.
Socio-economic factors.
The poverty I have is forcing me to work so hard.
Oh my
So
God.
I sleep less, I wake up early, I have no time for doing exercise.
Okay.
But I need to improve on that.
Yes. You need to. Fred.
Yes, madam. Me, I last did exercise 2 weeks ago, and it was so intense. I did 12 kilometers. Then after next 10, I had to get some.
Mr. 12 kilometers.
That is so vigorous.
Then I really had issues, but because of motivation, I kept on pushing. Even if you feel pain, you need to keep on pushing.
Yeah.
So I push.
Because of motivation.
Yes. Even mine originated from motivation. There are some people I follow on YouTube, some podcasts. That podcast that you open very early in the morning, and they are motivating you. They are encouraging you to wake up. Before you start tickling your phone, first have a little push-ups here and there. First skip that rope. You get it. So I started 2 days ago.
So how many push-ups did you have?
No, small push-ups. I've not yet reached there, but I'm coming.
Even a blank.
I've started 2 days ago. I've started jumping 50 times every morning. 50 is a bit vigorous. Yeah, for someone who was physically inactive, it is something big.
Actually, that is good.
Yeah. So from motivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Discipline is going to tell us with time.
Okay.
So for me, ideally, I subscribe to what we call the alumni leagues, whereby almost every Sunday you have places that you meet, and then because there are very many. We have the Smart League, we have the Ango League, we have the Budo League, we have the Shark League.
Things for the rich.
Very leagues are happening.
Okay.
So you can go and subscribe to those leagues, especially when you earn OB to those institutions.
Wow.
Subscribe to those leagues and take part. So almost every Sunday they go and actually Sunday and Saturday, depending on the league your school is what.
Subscribing.
And then you engage, you play sports, various games actually played. There's also one which is prominent of late, the so-called corporate league. It's happening in a number of companies, so you can time and again go and exercise in different activities. Could be football, could be volleyball. Yes, and you keep your body physically active.
I think when I make money, I will subscribe.
Did you go to big schools, international schools? Because these other things are for hobbies. Did you attend international schools?
But we shall get ours.
Corporate league.
We shall get our corporate league.
So this is specifically for the guest.
Yes.
So can you please describe for us or for the audience what a typical traditional Ugandan meal looks like versus a common urban quick meal we see today?
Okay.
One plate, you're going to just paint for us a picture. A typical traditional Ugandan meal. And then on the other plate, you're going to describe for us a common urban quick meal.
Yes, let me begin with a traditional.
Yeah.
Common.
Traditional Ugandan.
Yes, traditional Ugandan meal. And we all realize that most of us, Uganda is a country that is blessed with ethnicity. Yes, we have very many people we are living with from different ethnic groups. We have the Baganda, we have the Bachiga, we have the Bateso, we have the Bakonjo. We have very many. To mention
we are very rich.
Yes, we are very rich when it comes to tribes. As
Why
compared
did
to
you add
some,
that? We are very rich.
Yes. So it will depend on the tribe you're coming from. But ideally, the common, what we can call the local dishes, yes, could have a portion from your staple food from your region or from your tribe.
Baganda.
Like me, I'm a Kalo eater.
Yes.
Is that the staple food?
That's what.
Okay, let me represent the Baganda. Is matoke also?
Yes, it's actually their staple food. Yes, you can have some matoke, you can have some kalo, it's called kalo. Yes, you can have some small sweet potato. Yes.
Cassava there.
Yes, you can have some cassava. You can have some greens or the green leafy vegetables attached. Yes, then you can have a common sauce. You can probably have some beans. You can have some peanuts. Yes. And best if the beans are not, it's called fried. Yes, best if they are actually boiled with some additional vegetables attached to them in the process of cooking.
Typical.
Yes.
Traditional.
Yes.
That is it.
And then for the urban, which most of us actually we presume they're the best, or we like consuming them on a daily. Actually, I have a colleague back then when they were still at campus. She told me that the place where their university was located happens to be One Day Gear. And One Day Gear, as you know, any campus environment, we have those so-called the chips sellers.
Those people are killing them.
Like actually they're killing our campusers. Silent crisis. So this colleague told me that he would actually, on a daily, he would consume chips because he had no energy to go and cook. Chips, sausage, chicken, that's what they could consume on a daily. You can imagine.
And then they
from Monday to Sunday is consuming this, and then on top of that he adds on a soda. Yes, he adds on a soda.
Just doing that for a week.
Yes,
a week, a semester.
And he would call it healthy, yet in actual sense he was predisposing his body. And this is the kind of colleague who would have lessons running from morning to evening. By the time he leaves class, he's very exhausted. He can't go to engage in somewhat physical activity. So when it comes to these urban common dishes, that's why we're having things that like the fried or the fries. We're having sodas. Sodas are not bad, but how you're taking them actually matters. Yes, you can't keep taking soda on a daily and you think you're doing so well health-wise. Yes, so those are some of the how best I can describe.
And I found out we are done with the questions. Yeah, these are findings that more than 90% of hypertensive patients are actually due to primary hypertension. The root causes are idiopathic. They are unknown. They are genetic.
What we can call multifactorial.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then less than 10% are due to lifestyle. Okay. You see that people are suffering with hypertension not because they are reckless. That's why there are, because we can't say that because the reason is not known, there are no drugs. Of course, we cannot maybe be rest assured that if I take this drug and this, I'm going to heal completely. But we can prevent here and there, such that the symptoms don't get worse. Yeah.
We just love our specialists to give us some few management, just 2-3 seconds. How can we manage this?
Hypertension. So, in the management of hypertension, there are basically two strategies that can be employed. Yes, we have what we call the non-pharmacological measures, and then we have what we call the pharmacological measures. Before we get to you, what are you actually going to do to combat this growing crisis? That is what we call the non-pharmacological measures. Then by the time you come to us and realize actually there's little that we can now instill in you,
you need help.
You now need help, what we now call the pharmacological interventions. So we shall begin with the what? Non-pharmacological interventions. The very first thing, you are encouraged to exercise on a daily. Usually every single
exercise.
You who last had a exercise in 2024 daily.
You don't need to actually go an hour, 2 hours.
If I was that, you may even
yes.
2 minutes. You might not have time, but consistent 5 minutes of exercise every day.
Every single day. That's enough. By the way, you could even take a walk. Yes, or a 30-minute walk. That is okay every single day.
Aerobic activity.
Yes.
You're walking in fresh air.
That's the first thing. Exercise regularly. Then the other thing is that now, like some of us, like with this, we like adding salt to our meals. Try to reduce, or if not, leave it the way it is. Yes. The way the food is given to you, it is okay. Consume it the way it is. Probably next time, if you're cooking or someone is cooking, you advise them to try and increase the calories.
I know that time is not on our side, but there is this habit I'm saying in these people that maybe you found that the salt in your food is not enough.
Yes.
They go and maybe bring for you hot water.
Yes.
And then they dissolve that salt in that hot water. Is that a bit safe than throwing the salt here and there on the food?
Actually, it is not safe because in the long run, you're just dissolving the salt, which you're also going to add to
These people now have
whatever.
started lying to us. You want to add salt, they dissolve it in water.
Me, I think even if the salt was completely boiled, but for as long as it is too much, you're not taking away the sodium, it is still there. So it will still cause issues.
So it is the same thing. Stop that thing of dissolving it in warm water.
Yes.
Yes. So after that, the other thing we encourage you, our dear viewers, is you avoid smoking. Try to avoid smoking. You know, sometimes we can be in places where we're actually having these these active smokers, which makes us passive smokers. So if at all you can avoid those places, please avoid them. Then there is no way I can catch it short. Please just stop or avoid the smoking. Yes. Then the other non-pharmacological measure we can employ is you avoiding alcoholism. That one we've talked about it. Yes, we have to quit and avoid alcoholism. If you have not started, please don't try. If you've started, start reducing
until you quit.
Yes, until you eventually quit. The other thing is you try to manage your stress. Stress is, by the way, inevitable. Stress is inevitable because it can come from any direction. It can come from any angle. But try to manage it. There are some things that go with time. There are some that can't go. So we learn to live within the means, not to get stressed with what is actually there. Of course, it is inevitable, but we try to reduce.
The coping mechanism.
Yes, this it is I can't handle it at this instant. But let me not give it a lot of thought, because the more you give it a lot of thought, the more it is going to stress you. The more it's going to stress you, and a number of mechanisms then set in that predispose you to what?
Activate
To
the sympathetic
hypertension.
system.
Then lastly, but not least, is in as much as you do, try and eat fruits and engage vegetables
Be
in your diet.
intentional about what you
Diet
eat.
modification.
Diet modification, yes. Eat as much fruits as you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And avoid those rich in sodium.
Exactly.
Don't
The
over-consume. Even food itself. Don't consume food that is rich in sodium.
Which means you have to be intentional. Now,
Intentional
this
about your
habit
food.
of going to parties, just because there is a buffet, you're going to eat lunch, breakfast, and supper. Now you're coming with a plate, you're adding each and everything.
I tell you when will
First,
I
know
get
that-
that chance again?
Do you want to die? Eh? First, make sure that do I
Yes,
have
it will be
a
a
protein
Coca-Cola.
on my plate? Do I have maybe greens? Do I have carbohydrates? Be intentional about what you eat. Yeah?
I may even not be knowing what a carbohydrate is.
Oh
Even
my
what
God.
I'm
That
just
is-
seeing food there.
Oh my God, that's why you need to be on Health Unmasked. That's why you need to subscribe. Because now we need another episode to explain diet. We need to come back and explain protein,
Proteins.
vegetables, those all that stuff. Yeah. So
That should be
subscribe to
included
our
in the
YouTube
normal.
channel. Yeah.
We have discussed a lot. Shout out to our visitor. We thank you so much for your time. We have learned a lot from you.
Yeah.
We look forward again bringing you to the show. My final message is listen to the management. You can prevent this cause. Look
Yeah.
into your diet. If you drinking too much,
Yeah.
reduce, stop smoking. I think that would be the biggest takeaway from this podcast. So maybe before we close, I would just love my colleagues here to tell the viewers something small.
All right. So to our dear viewers, oh my God, we don't know how we can always appreciate you because you make all this happen. You give us the courage to always come back to shoot new content for you to listen to and learn such that you can always make informed decisions because we know that we might not be giving you enough that you should have, but at least we give you that is enough for you to make informed decisions. So what I can say about today's episode is
Be intentional. Not just in what you eat, but that sleeping. Eh? You find someone, they slept for 7 hours in the night, even during day because maybe they are unemployed, they are sleeping for 10 hours straight. Have some physical activity
Exercise.
here and there. Yeah, and read more. If you can't go to books, then subscribe to some channels that are going to bring for you the information. Because you need to have at least some knowledge. If you can't go to books maybe and read that, what is hypertension? What are the risk factors for hypertension? Then look for a way to attain knowledge. Yeah, go to those documentaries on YouTube. Sometimes you find a whole documentary talking about these non-communicable diseases. Find these podcasts, subscribe to everything that is going to help you attain knowledge so that you can walk through this life journey because it's really so hard when you don't have the information. Yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you so over to you.
Mine is very simple. In case you're hypertensive and you're on medication, please don't assume that if you take the medicine for 1 month and the blood pressure goes back to normal, you're going to stop medication. Please always seek advice from your healthcare service provider and then you act accordingly. Then the other thing is, let us take lifestyle changes towards living a healthy lifestyle. Something very important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those that are with us up to now. We thank you for your time. We want to remind you that we have been Health Unmasked on different platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Is our humble appeal, is our humble request. Please go and just type in Health Unmasked and search for us. Ensure to like and subscribe. Thank you again, once again, for being here. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. We love you all.
Health Unmasked.
Health lies
we all
all swallow.